Mike, I'll tell you a funny story. If you take indoor golf and driving range, we track and give data to people 120 times per second. There's 120,
Really?
there's 120 shots being hit every second that we measure. We measured more than 3 billion shots last year, and we will measure 4.5 billion shots this year. So as we speak, during this half hour that we've spoken, I mean, I can't calculate in my head, but there's been many thousand golf shots hit and tracked by TrackMan.
During the pandemic, I started noticing something interesting. Golf was on the rise, and not because of professional leagues or star athletes. The growth was coming from unexpected places. Young people, women, and communities of color were taking up the game in record numbers. Golf was becoming not just more popular, but more inclusive, more accessible, and yes, even cool. As a pollster and trend researcher, it was clear to me that this wasn't a temporary spike. The sport was undergoing a cultural shift. There was real momentum, fueled by influencers far beyond the fairway. Tech, fashion, and hospitality were playing a role in reshaping what golf looks like today. That trend became one of the inspirations behind my new book, Not About Golf, which looks at how disruptors are transforming not just a sport, but entire culture. And few have done more to change the game than today's guest, Klaus Eldrup Jorgensen, founder and CEO of TrackMan. If you've watched any pro golf, taken a lesson, or are one of the millions of people who have played an indoor simulator, chances are you've encountered TrackMan. It's the device that uses Doppler radar to track the trajectory of a golf ball from the moment it connects with the club to when it comes to rest. It then provides real-time data to golfers, either on a laptop or smartphone, to help improve the game while on the course. The technology has redefined how we understand the swing, how we train, and how we experience the game. I included Klaus in this book because TrackMan isn't just changing golf. It's helping drive its reinvention. And I'm so excited to dive into that story today. Welcome, Klaus, to the interview. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Klaus, I was saying, I spoke to you over a year ago when I was at the beginning of my journey of writing Not About Golf. And I had seen TrackMan in my favorite place to golf in the winter, the Vail Country Club, and it's a bar. It's a bar where I use a TrackMan and I practice golf and I play Pebble Beach over and over again. And I thought, I'm going to take a chance and see if I can talk to the inventor of TrackMan in Denmark. And I took a chance and I called you, and I was so happy to speak to you. And over that year, I have found that you are one of the leading innovators in changing golf worldwide, that there are now just as many golfers golfing in simulators as on green grass, and that you have improved the accessibility of golf, the affordability of golf, the interest in golf, and you have brought so many new golfers into the sport. Congratulations.
Thank you. And maybe to comment on it, Mike, you said that the people playing in a simulator is almost as big or maybe even bigger than people playing on a golf course. And I will say maybe you have to add to that, it's people playing off course compared to people playing on course. So it's simulator golf and range golf. But you're right, it's the new way that many people enter the game. And I think one of the reasons why is because it's so much less intimidating. I mean, I played golf since I was a kid. I don't know when you started, but it's very natural for me to be on a golf course. You know the language, you know how to dress, you know how to swing the golf club. People are not waiting from behind when you play on the golf course. I mean, that's all the things that new people to the game, if you invite them on a golf course, do experience, and which does hold many back and maybe stop them from starting. So you're right. Being in an indoor simulator where the music is playing, maybe you have a beer, people next door are also new to the game and so on, makes it much easier for new people to enter the game. So from that point of view, you're very right.
But when you started, did you realize that you were going to revolutionize golf and bring in more than 20 million golfers?
No, I wish I would I could say that it was all planned, but I don't think many things are planned in life. I mean, the original idea we had was back in 2003 when we started the company. You could hit a golf shot and you got no feedback. It might be difficult for people to, especially young people today, to understand, but it's a little bit like before the internet and so on. You hit a golf shot and there was no data. The only thing you could see was the ball, flying high, low, or left, right, and apart from that, you were left to yourself. So the question we asked ourselves back in those days was, if there is a technology out there, if there's anything out there that can help you get some feedback on each shot, it'll be so much more fun and efficient to practice. And then we looked around and saw that in the military industry, Doppler radar was used to track missiles and projectiles. The theory at that point in time was, can that technology also track something as peaceful as a golf ball? And then I happened to I went to a company in Denmark who are actually world leading in applications for military use of Doppler radar, and spoke to the owner, and the pitch at that point in time was basically, why don't we do a joint venture? You have the technology, we want to apply it on something completely new. So how about that? But after 3 or 4 meetings, it became clear to me and my two co-founders that he listened and he was polite, but he didn't believe in the idea, and he was happy with his existing business. But in every meeting I had with the owner, right next to him was sitting a gentleman who was running the R&D and department, and had, I think at that point in time, maybe 20 or 25 people working for him, Frederick Tuxen. And Frederick played golf since he was a kid as well. And Frederick immediately saw the need and idea, and I could feel that in the meetings. But then, to cut a long story short, a Friday afternoon, after 3 months of getting nowhere, talking to the owner, I grabbed the phoned Frederick, whom I never met, like that on a one-on-one basis before, and basically pitched him the idea. Do you want to join us? And can we start from scratch? Basically, that evening, asking him 3 questions. One, is there any competitive clause that will stop you from starting with us? Are there any patents that we have to be aware of? And third question, do we need to start big, or can we somehow start, small? And Frederick said, I have to think about it. And the challenge he had was that the radars he was producing and designing at that point in time, they were several meters big and wide, and they were hundreds of kilos heavy. They had a price of millions of dollars, and the whole trick was to get down to something that fitted the purpose. But Frederick called me back 3 days later and said, I'm on board. And a month later, he was working out of my house together with 6 engineers.
But wait a minute, you were a successful businessman in the pharmaceutical industry. How did you walk away at 45 to chase what many people might say a crazy technology golf dream?
That's a good question, and you're right. I did have a background, in a Danish company called Novo Nordisk that is
a small
super
Danish company.
Small Danish company, yeah.
It's a big Danish company.
But I actually had left that company before I started TrackMan. There was a few years in between where I ran another biotech company in Denmark, and actually started a venture fund in Denmark. But all my life I've been dreaming about doing something on my own.
So you had an entrepreneurial spirit, and you were looking for something. Yeah. And so you were an entrepreneur and a golfer, and looking for something. But the idea to take military grade radar and apply it to a golf ball, which seems pretty small versus the bombs and whatever you were tracking, seems pretty incredible.
I was not tracking bombs, but you're right. I would say it this way: you're right. I had a dream of doing something on my own. I'm definitely an entrepreneur. If it hadn't been TrackMan and golf, I would probably have figured something else out. But of course, having the opportunity to combine your passion with is of course amazing. But I don't think any of us had dreamt about where we would be 22 years later.
Yeah, originally you designed TrackMan for golf professionals, and not did you ever see it being the gateway to so many amateur golfers and people who are new to the sport?
As a matter of fact, we did. The other day I had to give a lecture in Denmark and I looked through my old notes and I have a marketing plan from 2003. That was the year we founded Trackman. And the idea in that plan was actually, you know, applying technology to driving ranges. It was really the practice thing and you know making the you know these data available to regular golfers. That was the original plan. Then we just happened to develop a product that was super accurate and of high quality. So the go-to-market strategy became different. The go-to-market strategy became visiting, you know, the equipment manufacturers, the Callaways, the TaylorMades, the Titleists of the world, having them use the technology. Then came the best players in the world, the best coaches in the world. So if you look at a pyramid, you're absolutely right. We started top down, and it took us actually, you know, most of 15 years before we actually got to the original idea, which was, you know, you can call it smart ranges, you know, applying technology to a golf range. So the original idea was actually that. It was just a long, long detour.
And I'm wearing a hat from Cabot, Cape Breton, where here I am hitting balls, and your track band's behind me, and it brings a whole level of, for me, I'm a 15 handicap, fun. Just fun to see, does my 6 iron really go, as high and as far as I think? And it just made practicing so much more engaging and fun and meaningful. Have you found that?
Yes, of course I have, and it is fantastic. I mean, let's maybe talk a little bit about indoor golf or simulator golf, as you call it. I mean, if you go back, because that is definitely new, and that was definitely not something we thought about when we started the company in
Indoor golf.
2003. Indoor golf,
Indoor
simulator
golf.
golf.
Okay.
That was not in any way part of the agenda. But I mean, technology became, because honestly speaking, if you look back 10 years, there was a lot of simulators out there, but the quality was so bad that I mean, a regular golfer or a serious golfer would never spend time in a simulator like that. But today, you know, the quality is so good. When we have 3 meters of ball flight, so the ball being launched until it hits the screen, we have enough data to tell you exactly what that ball would have done had it traveled all the way on, under any condition. So we can have tailwind, headwind, side wind. We can have, you know, temperature, elevation, whatever situation you're in. We can tell you exactly how far that ball would travel. We can also tell you exactly what it will do once it hits the golf course, because we have the golf course very, very precisely done. We fly all the golf courses in our library with a drone, and then we get the typography down to inches. Then we have designers that creates the golf course. It takes probably a month for one designer to make one golf course. And then there's all the physics, which is so important, that when you have a ball that comes down with a given angle, with a given speed, with a given spin rate, and you have a fairway or green or whatever, you need to know exactly how that ball would behave, you know, basically when it does every jump on the course. And it's taken many, many years to refine that model and to get that right. But that's what makes it so interesting to play indoor golf today.
So tell me, okay, so you had the idea. Who's on your team? You have engineers, you have scientists, you have graphics. Who's on the TrackMan team behind the scene?
Okay, first of all, we are 900 people today.
Now, I
Okay,
saw your ID, so I figured the company headquarters has a few people in it.
we're 900 people. We have more than 300 engineers, software developers. So that's a huge part of the company. I would say Trackman is all about, you know, product. We are a very product-oriented company. We keep developing. Of course, we have salespeople all over the world. So we have no distributors, we have no agents. So if we take US as an example, we have 70 salespeople all over US servicing our customers. If you go to Korea, we have 35 people, Japan 35 people, Australia 10 people, UK 15 people. So all over the world, there is Trackman salespeople in front of customers. So salespeople and developers are basically the two main functions of the company. Then of course we have the other functions that you need to have, you know, administration, customer support, marketing, and so on. But it's really a product focused company. It's all about innovation and new products.
How many different languages can I play TrackMan in?
Good question. I don't know, but I probably somewhere between 7 and 10, I will guess.
17 language. And how many countries do TrackMan products exist in?
Another good question. Guess 70, 80 countries all over the world.
80 countries.
The funny thing is that all these simulators, if we take indoor golf, they are connected. So I mean, I can stand in Denmark, and I can challenge you in somewhere in the US. We can play together. We can talk. We can see each other on the screen, and now we can decide we want to play Pebble Beach or Old Course at St. Andrews or whatever. So it's a fantastic way of being able to play across borders. Huh?
To build community. I remember when we spoke last time, you told me that you have tournaments that you sponsor where you get up to 2,000 golfers all over the world playing the same course, the same day, and competing in a tournament.
Yes, we have many tournaments. I think we have a tournament platform, as we call it, and I think there's probably but everybody can set up a tournament. So if you have an indoor center, you mentioned, 5 Iron before in New York. I mean, 5 Iron, they can set up a tournament for one location or for all their locations. And if you have a simulator at home, you can set up a tournament for your friends and family. I can set up, as TrackMan, I can set up a tournament for the whole world. Okay, so we have tournaments with 10,000, 20,000, 30, 40,000 people participating. But the tournament you talked about before, we call that the Next Golf Tour. That's actually a very serious tournament for the best players in the world. This is for professional players. 86% of participants are professional players. They play without handicap. They play for several $100,000 a tournament. And they don't have to play, as you said, on the same day. Actually, they can just play within a window of 2 weeks. So there's a tournament launched. You can play anywhere in the world. You have 2 weeks in which you can participate and you compete against everybody else all over the world. And that tournament, we're entering the season number 4 now. And the winners of the tournament actually also get access to the Live Golf Tour promotion event, and they get cards for the European Tour as well. So it's a kind of feeders tour for some of the bigger tours.
That's amazing. And so you have tours that lend themselves towards no handicap, scratch golf, just regular professional level golf, and then you have so many new to golf and people who are learning. I was in a 5 Iron recently, and they had Wednesday night was ladies' night, and every bay across 20 or 30 bays was filled with women learning to golf and taking lessons and playing on their TrackMan.
Isn't that fantastic?
Did you ever see that coming?
No, and you said two things, which of course was fantastic to hear. First, you said, they were new to golf, which is great. You also said it's women, which is also great. Okay? And that's what we see. We see new people entering the game. We see young people entering the game because it's technology. It's their way of thinking and living. And we see many more female golfers entering the game and entering the indoor centers and the driving ranges. So great development.
So when you see a trend like that, does it change your path or your R&D? Are you developing things to really pick up on this?
Oh yes, of course we do. I mean, let's take an example. I mean, we do a lot of games. Okay. So we have games that you will enjoy as a 5 or 6 or 7 year old kid, where you hit a shot and you're going to hit some cars and you're going to blow up something and so on. So basically everything you see and think of in the computer game world, we are creating on top of a TrackMan simulator. So definitely,
you're balancing the fun and the science. Like, it sounds like you started very serious golf, and you've expanded it to be as inclusive as possible and as fun as possible.
That's true. It's always been extremely important for us that we are. I mean, we definitely grew out of the serious golfer, the best golfers in the world, because of the accuracy our technology offers. But you're right. As time have gone on, we have you can say gone down the pyramid, and now the product is accessible to more people.
Yeah, I don't know why your TrackMans need to be so accurate. When I slice a ball and it goes into the water, maybe I could get a lucky bounce. It
Maybe.
doesn't seem to happen with the TrackMan. It seems to go
No,
in.
no. And honestly speaking, I think that's important that it is accurate.
I said if it's going towards the water, maybe I could get a bounce or I could hit a rock and stay up.
It could, I mean, it could happen both in the real world and it could also happen on a TrackMan. If there is a rock and if you do hit the rock, it will come back on the fairway.
Yeah. All I know is that no matter if it goes in the water, the ball still comes back to me.
That's true, and you don't lose it in your indoor bay. You can find it. Your feet won't get wet.
My feet won't go. I feel that TrackMan has brought so much joy to people's lives. To play a sport that they really didn't think was for them, that they felt that they were left out, that it was, like you said, it was too hard, it was too intimidating. There were, keeping pace on a golf course, getting the ball up and getting and putting into the hole is hard. Playing TrackMan is easy.
It's a great way to start. It's a great way to start, and no, we didn't see that 20 years ago, but it's turned out to be a wonderful thing.
What are some lessons that you've learned along the way? You've been doing this now for 25 years?
Yeah, 22, yeah.
22. You've been doing this for 22 years. What would be the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way about the company, yourself, golf?
That's a huge question. I don't know. I mean, we learned so much. I mean, you definitely can't plan everything up front, okay? And looking back, it looks like a straight line. But I mean, we have been out many side branches on the way that turns out to be blind or not super efficient, and then you have to go back again. But trying new things, not being afraid of trying new things has been great. We have a lot of extremely good people here. I mean, it's a team that's amazingly talented and super passionate and motivated, which is another great thing. Yeah, and then I'll say, and they're not all golfers, but many of them are, and many of them become golfers after starting working for us. We offer free lessons twice a week. People can go to the local golf club here where we have a teacher, and they can go there and learn golf. We also sponsor in Denmark we call it the green card. That's a course you take that would allow you to play on the golf course. So we sponsor that. So I will say of the 500 people working in this house today, I will guess 250 play golf. And many of them, of course, are serious golfers because they choose to come to us because of they're passionate about the game.
They can live the game that they love so much every day.
Hey, if you're a software developer, isn't it much more fun to make software that you see on television and that is used by Roy McIlroy and the best players in the world compared to making software for a bank for electronic signature? I think it is.
They love it so much. Everybody likes to hear about the failures. Give me an example of one time you just didn't get it right. I mean, it's been a long journey. Well, you said it wasn't a straight path. What's something that you thought it would be good and it just didn't work out?
I'm sure there are many things, but one thing that stands out was actually when the iPhone came out. Okay, remember the iPhone was not out there when we started, but it came out during our journey. So the first products we had, you had a TrackMan, then you had a USB cable over to a computer, a ruggedized computer because you were outside and so on. So it's a super, cumbersome setup. Then the iPhone came around, and we didn't see that early enough. So it took us a little while before we got everything, because then we had to, because the iPhone can't do the calculations. So now we have to put the calculations inside the unit. In the old days, you had a unit that was basically tracking the ball, but all the information went to a computer and the computer did the calculations. Then the iPhone came out and the iPhone couldn't do the calculations. So we had to put all the calculations and computer power into the unit. That I think there was probably half a year to a year where we didn't see the importance of that development, and that was definitely something where we were not fast enough.
Is there something that you didn't think that would be so significant and it turned out to be just an absolute game changer?
Yeah, you can put it that way. We did of course we saw it, but it just took a little bit of a while before we realized how big a change that would be. I don't think we were the only ones in the world who missed that.
There's a sign in Pine Valley that says when on the first tee it says no mulligans, and that really resonated with me because life doesn't really give you mulligans either. You bet everything on one vision and couldn't go back. What advice would you give to someone considering a major life change? How do you know when it's time to just make that irreversible swing and go for
it? That's a very good question, and I don't really know if I have a good answer. But I mean, I think there's two kind of entrepreneurs. There are a lot of people these days who start very young. 22, 23, 24, 25, right out of university, or maybe right out of basic, not school, okay? Going into, doing something on a computer and they start a company. You can say somehow they don't risk a lot because it's the beginning of their career, and I think, doing something like that is a great experience for everyone. Then, of course, there are people like myself, as you mentioned before. I was probably 44, 45 when I started the company, had a good job already, which of course has also some advantages. But of course, you're running a bigger risk. The first couple of years, I actually kept my other activities alive. Okay, so I could go back. But the good thing about having been, in a company like Novo Nordisk, which is really where you learn, best in class business, is of course that I've been able to take the company from few people in my house to 900 people. I mean, I was not afraid of the growth because I had an organization this size when I was in Novo Nordisk, because I was a part of management in that company. So yes, you do risk something, but I always felt, honestly, I always felt that I could stop and go back. I wasn't afraid because I had something I could fall back on. So I think what I'm saying is, if you're young, I think it's fine because it's an experience, and you have your life in front of you, so you can repair whatever damage you make, and you'll definitely learn something. If you're a little older, then yes, you do run a risk, and then you have to balance that risk. But at least I had something to fall back on. Had this not developed the way it did.
And it took off so much. I have a last question. You've kept TrackMan private. It single-handedly has changed golf. I'm sure you get offers all the time. Why are you keeping it? Or do you have a vision someday down the line? Like, where does this all go?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I have a clear answer to that one. I mean, today I own the company 80% with my brother, and Frederick Tuxen owns 18%, and the last 2% belongs to some of the few employees that joined us during the very first years. And that ownership has, as you mentioned, not changed for those 22 years. And you are right, we are being approached, weekly from private equity and other people who want to talk if we need financing or wants to be sold or anything like that. But that's not going to happen. We love what we do, and as a matter of fact, we're a Danish company. Denmark is a small company. There's a lot of great startups that started in Denmark, but what normally happens with the companies in Denmark, and probably also other European companies, they reach a certain level and then they are sold off, and IP and employees and know-how and everything moves to another country. And it actually means a lot to me that we keep some of those companies in a company like Denmark. We need that. So I'm extremely proud of what we're doing. I'm extremely proud of building what we are building. And from a personal perspective, I mean, I got everything I need. I have a wonderful wife, house, dog, kids, car. So now it's a question about making a great company for the employees, for Denmark, for golf, and I'm just happy to be able to still be around and enjoy it. And when I'm not the one in this chair, there'll be somebody else, but it will still be my family who stands behind the company. Which, by the way, has I can feel when I speak to partners in the industry that many appreciate this because they know who they're dealing with. Uh, they know that we've been here for 22 years. I tell them we will be here for the next 22 years. They know who they're dealing with. Many of our competitors, they're sold every 3-4 years. New private equity, new strategy, new CEO. And I think it's it creates a lot of confidence. I mean, I put my name and everything behind this company. I can't afford not to treat people well. So in many ways, I think family ownership is a strong model. It works very well in Denmark. As a matter of fact, we have many family-owned businesses in Denmark. Just think of Maersk, think of Lego, think of Carlsberg Foundation. I mean, there are many, many Bang& Olufsen, hi-fi company. All these companies started as family companies and stayed family-owned for many, many years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a truly inspirational story, and one that you had to stay committed to. And I love the fact that you're committed to your country, you're committed to your employees, you're committed to the community. We thank you. We thank you for the millions of people that you brought in. We thank you for the millions of people who say it's okay to hit another shot and hit another shot and hit another shot, and we'll give you feedback on it when you're ready to go outside. If you want to go outside, it's going to be the same thing you experience inside is going to be what you are going to see outside, that there'll be no difference.
Mike, I'll tell you a funny story. If you take indoor golf and driving range, we track and give data to people 120 times per second. There's 120 shots being hit every second that we measure. We measured more than 3 billion shots last year, and we will measure 4.5 billion shots this year. So as we speak, during this half hour that we've spoken, I mean, I can't calculate in my head, but there's been many thousand golf shots hit and tracked by track.
Hold on, did you see that shot last week? I was playing the 7th hole at Pebble Beach, and I was this close to going in. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
It was so good. It went straight up, and it's as close as I've ever gotten. Maybe we can look it up in your database.
No, we can't because there was no TrackMan behind you on that day.
There was a track. No. I didn't. No. I didn't do it at Pebble. I did it in the TrackMan at 5 iron.
Hang on.
It was at 5 iron.
Okay, hang on. But you should be able to find it. I mean, you have an app.
Yes.
And you can just go and see your activities.
Yes.
And you can find the shot. You don't even need my help.
I'm going to send it to you so you can see. It was a pitching wedge. I didn't do the wind behind. And it just went up and down, and I kept the green sort of firm, and it's a great shot.
Fantastic. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It was super enjoyable. Well, thank you, Klaus. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
If you ever come to Denmark, Mike, please come and see us.
By the way, Klaus, I'm not joking. There are hundreds of thousands of people who played TrackMan. I'm not sure they all know it's TrackMan, but they know it's 5 iron. They know it's Vale Country Club. And there was no difference between playing on course, going to they're with their friends, and when they play indoors, it takes them half the time. They can flip it, and you've fundamentally changed golf. And I wonder sometimes, because you're in Denmark, if you just know the impact that you've had on the world.
We touched 5 million people last year. We had 5 million people that used our system. We can see that. We have data on that. We had 5 million people, and we tracked 3 billion shots. So it's a lot of golf shots.
So it's just really good. I was on Golf Channel, and they said that my book is different because I talked to the new I didn't talk to the industry titans. I talked about those who are innovating golf, and you're somebody who I mentioned because there's TrackMan is sort of just this box behind the scene, and yet it enables this whole world, and that's where the innovation is coming from. I don't think it's the Callaway club that has the titanium. Yes, sure, that's innovating golf, but TrackMan's the one that's bringing people in.
Glad to hear. Then it's been worth everything.
It's yes, yeah, and you're so low key. Like, you're not out there doing every interview, raising your profile. You guys speak with your performance.
Thank you. Come and see us, Mike.
I will.